Hey everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be talking about something that I know a lot of you struggle with, and that is planning out your social media content.
Absolutely. It's one of the biggest questions I get, and for good reason, too.
Yeah, it can feel really overwhelming,
Yeah.
especially when you're first getting started or even if you've been at it for a while. Things change and it can be hard to keep up.
Social media changes all the time, so it's important to kind of stay on top of the trends and the best practices.
Totally. So let's break it down for everyone listening today. Like, what are the essential steps to crafting a really killer social media content plan?
Okay, so first things first, you absolutely have to have a plan.
Yeah.
You can't just be winging it every day.
Right.
You have to be intentional, and that starts with knowing what you're trying to achieve.
So basically, like, what are your goals?
Exactly. What are your goals for social media?
Okay.
And I don't just mean like, I want to be famous.
Right.
What are your business goals? How can social media help you achieve those goals?
So get specific.
Yeah, get super specific.
Okay.
Do you want to grow your audience, drive traffic to your website, increase sales?
Measurable goals.
Measurable goals, exactly.
I like it.
And once you know your goals, then you can start to think about, who are you trying to reach?
So audience research.
Audience research is so important.
It's kind of like that saying, right? Like if you're talking to everyone, you're talking to no one.
That's exactly it.
Okay, so how do we do that? Like, how do we get to know our audience?
So there's a couple different ways you can start with your existing followers, if you have any.
Okay.
Look at their demographics, their interests.
Okay.
You can use analytics tools to gather insights.
Okay.
You can also look at your competitors. Who are they talking to? And, what kind of content are they creating that's resonating?
So it's kind of like a little bit of detective work.
It is.
I love it.
Yeah, it's fun.
So we've got our goals, we've got our audience figured out. What's next?
Okay, so now you got to think about which platforms are right for you.
Okay, because there's a lot of them out there.
There are so many, and it's easy to feel like you need to be on all of them.
Right.
But that's not necessarily true.
Okay.
Focus on the platforms where your audience is hanging out
That makes sense.
and where you can create content that aligns with your goals.
Okay, so let's say we've narrowed it down to like 2 or 3 main platforms.
Perfect.
Now, how do we decide what kind of content to actually create?
All right. Well, this is where it gets fun. We're going to talk about content themes.
Okay, content themes.
Uh-huh.
This sounds interesting. Tell me more.
So content themes are basically like the buckets or categories of content that you're going to create.
Okay.
So, for example, let's say you're a fitness coach.
Okay.
Some of your content themes might be workout tips, healthy recipes, client success stories.
Okay, I see. So it's kind of like having a framework in place.
Exactly.
So you're not just randomly posting stuff.
Exactly.
You have these themes to guide you.
Yep. And it helps your audience know what to expect from you.
So it's all about being consistent and providing value.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we've got our themes. We know what platforms we're going to be on. How do we actually organize all of this?
That is where the content calendar comes in.
Oh, yes, the content calendar. I've heard of this.
It's your best friend.
Okay.
It's going to keep you organized and on track.
Okay.
So basically, you're going to map out what you're going to post when you're going to post it.
So kind of like an editorial calendar, but for social media.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you can use whatever tool works best for you.
So like spreadsheet or...
A spreadsheet, a project management tool like Trello.
Okay.
Some people even just use a good old-fashioned planner.
Whatever works.
Yeah, whatever works as long as you're actually using it.
Right. Consistency is key.
Yes, consistency is key.
Awesome. So we've got our calendar in place. We're feeling organized. We're ready to start creating some amazing content.
I love it.
But wait a minute. Before we get too excited, there's one more crucial step that we need to talk about.
What's that?
And that is crafting high-quality content.
Yes, this is where the magic happens.
It's not enough to just post anything, right?
No.
It has to be good.
It has to be good. It has to be engaging.
Okay, so what are your top tips for creating content that really stands out and grabs people's attention?
All right, so first of all, think visually.
Okay.
People are scrolling through their feeds really fast.
Right.
You need to stop them in their tracks.
Okay, so visuals are important.
Visuals are key.
Got it.
High quality images, videos, even graphics.
Okay.
And then your captions.
Yes, the words.
The words.
So important.
Think about your brand voice. Be conversational interest. Ask questions. Tell stories.
Okay.
And don't be afraid to experiment with different caption lengths.
Right, because sometimes you just need a short and sweet caption. Sometimes you need to go a little deeper.
Exactly.
Okay, this is making sense.
Good.
So we've got our visuals, we've got our captions. What about all the different content formats out there?
Oh my goodness.
It's like a whole other world.
I know, right?
Like we've got Instagram Reels, TikTok videos, stories, lives. Like, how do we choose?
So again, it goes back to your goals and your audience.
Okay.
Experiment, try different things, see what works best for you.
Okay, so don't be afraid to play around.
Exactly. Have fun with it.
I like it.
But yeah, I mean, like, Reels are great for showcasing behind-the-scenes content or, like, quick tips.
Good.
TikToks are obviously great for short-form entertainment.
Yep.
Stories are great for, like, more personal updates.
Right.
And lives are great for connecting with your audience in real time.
I see. So each format has its own strengths.
Exactly.
We just got to figure out what works best for us.
Yes.
Okay, so we're creating all this amazing content, but how do we make sure that people are actually seeing it?
Yes, the age-old question.
Right? Like, are we just shouting into the void?
Well, the algorithms are a whole other beast.
They are.
But one thing that we know for sure is that they prioritize engagement.
Okay.
So the more people are liking, commenting, sharing, saving your content,
The more the algorithm likes you.
the more the algorithms are going to show it to other people.
Okay, so engagement is key.
Engagement is everything.
Got it.
So how do you increase engagement? Well,
That's what we want to know.
Well, we've already talked about creating high-quality content.
Right.
But you also need to be proactive.
Okay.
You need to be responding to comments,
Right.
asking questions, running polls.
So basically, like treating it like a two-way conversation,
Exactly.
not just a one-way broadcast.
Exactly. Social media is social.
It's in the name.
It's in the name.
Okay, so engagement is crucial.
Yes.
We're creating great content.
Yes.
We're being social.
Yes.
Is there anything else that we need to keep in mind?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to be patient and consistent.
Oh, patience and consistency, two of my least favorite words.
I know.
But they're so important.
They are so important.
Okay, so how do we stay consistent?
Well, I think that's where the content calendar really comes in handy.
Okay.
Because you can batch create your content.
Okay.
You can schedule your posts, and you can basically just like take that off your plate so that you're not scrambling every day to come up with something new.
That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And what about when we're feeling uninspired? Like, what do we do when we hit that creative wall?
Oh, the dreaded creative block.
It happens to all of us?
It happens to all of us.
But how do we overcome it?
Well, first of all, don't panic.
Okay.
It's normal.
Okay.
Take a break.
Okay.
Go for a walk. Step away from the screen.
Okay.
And then when you're ready to come back to it, look for inspiration everywhere.
Okay.
Talk to people, read books, browse other social media accounts.
So it's kind of like we need to refill our creative well
Exactly.
before we can start pouring out great content.
Exactly. I love that analogy.
And, also, don't be afraid to ask your audience for ideas.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah. What do they want to see more of?
Love it. So we're getting organized, we're creating great content, we're engaging with our audience, we're feeling good.
This is great. But there's one last thing that I want to talk about before we wrap up this part of our deep dive.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
And that is the importance of tracking your results.
Yes, we can't just set it and forget it.
Right. Like, how do we know if all of this hard work is actually paying off?
Exactly.
So how do we track our progress?
So luckily, all of the social media platforms have built-in analytics tools
Okay.
that can give you a ton of valuable information about how your content is performing.
Okay, so what should we be looking at?
So you want to look at things like reach,
Okay.
engagement, which we already talked about,
Mhm.
website clicks, if that's one of your goals.
Right.
And ultimately, you want to track your progress over time.
So are we getting closer to our goals?
Exactly. Are you moving the needle?
Okay, so data is our friend.
Data is your friend.
I like it.
Yes, use it to your advantage.
Awesome. So to recap, we've talked about setting goals, understanding our audience, choosing the right platforms,
Yep.
crafting amazing content,
Yep.
engaging with our community and tracking our results.
We did it.
That's a lot,
That's a lot.
but it's all so important.
It is the foundation of a successful social media strategy.
So tell me, before we move on to the next part of our deep dive, is there anything else that you think is absolutely essential for social media success?
Well, I think the biggest thing is just to remember to have fun.
Oh, fun.
Yes.
That's
If
important.
you're not enjoying it,
It's going to show.
it's going to show.
And your audience is going to pick up on that.
Absolutely.
So let's keep it light. Let's keep it fun.
Exactly.
And let's enjoy the process.
Yes, because social media can be a really powerful tool.
It can.
for connecting with people,
For building relationships.
for growing your business.
For sharing your message with the world.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
don't be afraid to put yourself out there.
Yes, be authentic. Be yourself.
Yes. And most importantly, be consistent.
Consistency is key.
It is.
Awesome. Well, on that note,
Yes.
I think it's time to take a little break.
Yeah.
And when we come back, we're going to be diving even deeper into the world of social media content planning.
I can't wait.
So stay tuned.
See you soon.
Welcome back to our deep dive, everybody. We're talking all things social media content planning. And before the break, we were chatting about how important it is to track our results.
Yes, we can't just post and pray.
Right. We have to know what's working, what's not, and how we can improve.
Exactly. It's all about making data-driven decisions.
So let's break it down. What are some of the key metrics that we should be tracking?
Okay, well, first of all, it really depends on your goals.
Right back to those goals.
Always back to the goal. So if your goal is to increase brand awareness, you're going to want to track things like reach and impressions.
Okay, reach and impressions. What's the difference?
Reach is the number of people who have seen your content at least once.
Okay.
And impressions is the total number of times your content has been displayed, whether it was clicked on or not.
I see. So impressions could be higher than reach.
Exactly, because one person could see your content multiple times.
Okay, that makes sense.
So those are good metrics for brand awareness.
Okay.
If your goal is to drive traffic to your website, you're going to want to track things like website clicks and referrals.
So how many people are actually clicking on the links in our posts?
Exactly.
Wow.
And then if your goal is to generate leads or sales,
Mhm.
you're going to want to track conversions.
So are people actually signing up for our email list, downloading our ebook, or buying our product?
Exactly. That's the bottom line.
Right?
We want to see those conversions coming in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're tracking all of these metrics. We're gathering all this data. What do we do with it?
Well, we use it to inform our strategy.
Okay, so how do we do that?
So we're going to look for patterns.
Okay.
Are there certain types of content that are performing better than others?
Right.
Are there certain times of day or days of the week when our audience is more engaged?
Okay.
We're going to use this data to tweak our content calendar,
Okay.
to refine our approach.
So it's a constant process of experimentation and improvement.
Exactly. Social media is always evolving,
Right.
so we have to evolve with it.
Okay, so we're tracking our data, we're making adjustments, we're feeling good about our progress, but then we hit a wall,
What kind of wall?
the creative wall.
Oh, no.
Our brains are fried, we have no ideas.
The dreaded creative block.
Oh, it's the worst.
It happens to all of us.
It does. So
Yeah.
how do we get out of this rut?
Okay, well, first of all, don't panic.
Okay, I won't panic.
It's normal to feel uninspired sometimes.
Okay.
So the first thing you want to do is just take a break.
Okay, step away from the screen.
Yeah, step away from the screen, go for a walk, get some fresh air.
Clear our heads.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then when you're ready to come back to it,
Mm-hmm.
start looking for inspiration everywhere.
Okay, inspiration is everywhere.
It's in the books you read,
Okay.
the conversations you have,
Okay.
the shows you watch.
So basically, we just need to open our eyes and our minds.
Exactly.
Okay, I like it.
You can also look to other social media accounts for inspiration.
Oh, yeah, like our competitors.
Your competitors, other people in your industry,
Okay,
but don't just copy them.
right. We want to be original.
You want to be inspired by them.
Okay, be inspired, but don't copy.
Put your own spin on it.
Got it.
And most importantly, don't be afraid to ask your audience for ideas.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, put up a poll, run a Q&A.
Let them tell us what they want to see.
Exactly, because ultimately, they're the ones who are going to be consuming your content.
It's all about the audience.
It is.
Okay, so we've refilled our creative. We were feeling inspired. We're ready to create some more amazing content.
I love it.
But there's one more challenge that we need to address.
What's that?
And that is the ever-changing landscape of social media algorithms.
Ah, yes, the algorithm.
It can be so frustrating, right?
It can be.
Like you feel like you're doing everything right,
Yeah,
but your content is just not getting seen.
the reach is low.
It's low, and you're like, what am I doing wrong?
I know, it's tough.
So how do we crack the code?
Well, unfortunately, there is no magic code. The algorithms are constantly changing,
Right.
but there are a few things that we can do to increase our chances of getting seen.
Okay, tell me everything.
So first of all, engagement is key.
Engagement again.
Always engagement. The more people who are liking, commenting, sharing, saving your content,
Mm-hmm.
the more likely the algorithm is to show it to other people.
Okay, so we need to encourage our audience to interact with us.
Exactly. Ask questions, run polls,
Okay,
encourage people to tag their friends.
got it.
Another thing you can do is experiment with different posting times,
Okay.
because the algorithm also takes into account when your audience is most active online.
So if we post when our audience is online,
Yeah,
our content is more likely to be seen.
more likely to be seen.
Okay, that makes sense.
And then finally, don't be afraid to use paid advertising.
Oh yeah, paid advertising.
It can be a really effective way to reach a wider audience,
Okay.
especially if you're just starting out.
Okay, so we've talked about engagement posting times, paid advertising, anything else?
Well, I think the most important thing is just to be patient.
Patience,
Yes,
again,
I know it's hard,
it is.
but building a following takes time, and
Rhyme,
it takes consistency.
consistency, there's that word
I
again.
know.
But it's so true.
It's so true.
So just keep showing up, keep creating great content,
Yeah,
keep engaging with your audience.
exactly. And eventually the algorithm will reward you.
I hope so.
It will.
Awesome. Well, on that note, I think it's time to take another little break.
Okay.
When we come back, we're going to be wrapping up our deep dive with some final thoughts on social media content planning.
Sounds good.
So stay tuned. And we are back for the final part of our deep dive on social media content planning. Now, before the break, we were talking about the dreaded algorithms and how to make them work for us.
Yeah, they can be a bit of a mystery, can't they?
They really can, and it's so easy to get caught up in the numbers game and feel like we're constantly chasing that next like or follow.
I know what you mean, but I think it's important to remember that social media is about so much more than just vanity metrics.
Okay, so what's the bigger picture here?
It's about building genuine connections with people.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Think about it like this. When you meet someone new in real life, do you immediately start bombarding them with sales pitches?
Probably not.
No. You probably start by asking them questions, getting to know them, finding common interests.
Right, building rapport.
Exactly. And social media should be no different.
So how do we apply that same approach to our online interactions?
Well, first of all, ditch the salesy language.
Okay, no more buy now, limited time offer.
Exactly. People can smell a sales pitch a mile away, and it's a huge turnoff.
So what should we be doing instead?
Focus on providing value.
Yeah.
Share helpful tips, insightful content, entertaining stories, things that your audience will actually find interesting and engaging.
So basically, be a friend, not a salesperson.
Exactly. Be the kind of person that people want to hang out with online.
I like that analogy.
And remember, it's a two-way street.
Okay. Ask questions, respond to comments, show genuine interest in your followers.
So basically, like, treat them like human beings.
Exactly, because that's what they are.
It's so easy to forget that sometimes, isn't it?
It is when we're so focused on building our brands and growing our following.
Right, but at the end of the day, it's all about people.
It is.
Connecting with people, building relationships, making a difference in their lives.
And when you do that, the rest will follow.
The likes, the followers, the sales.
It will all come naturally.
This is so inspiring. I feel like I've had a complete mindset shift.
I love it.
From focusing on the numbers to focusing on the people.
That's what it's all about.
Awesome. Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today.
We have.
From setting goals and understanding our audience to crafting amazing content and cracking the algorithm code.
And everything in between.
And everything in between. But before we wrap things up, I want to leave our listeners with one final thought.
Okay, I'm all ears.
Social media can be a powerful tool for good.
It can connect us with people from all over the world.
It can amplify our voices.
It can inspire change.
It can build communities.
So let's use it wisely.
Yes.
Let's use it to make a positive impact.
Let's spread kindness.
Let's share our stories.
And let's make the world a better place, one post at a time.
I love that. Well said on that note. I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive.
Okay, I'm ready when you are.
Thank you so much for joining us today for this incredible conversation about social media content planning, and a huge thank you to our amazing expert for sharing their wisdom and insights.
You're very welcome. It was my pleasure.
And to our listeners, thank you for tuning in as always. We hope you learned something new and that you're feeling inspired to take your social media game to the next level.
Go get 'em.
Yes, go get them. We'll see you next time for another deep dive.